Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Everyone who's joining us live. It's great to see all of you. We're joining.
Yeah, thanks for the raid.
Yeah, thanks for the raid. Heck yeah, let's go. Heck yeah. We're just coming in to say hello to those who are able to join the live stream. It's great to see you all. In just a moment, as we do every time, I'm gonna fade us out. We're gonna do one last little audio check on our end, and then we'll be right back with you to actually start episode 29. This is episode 29 we're doing today, so really excited to do this here. Guys, we'll be right back with you. So thanks for joining. We'll be right back. It's about 5 more minutes. We'll be back with you. Hello, everybody. It's great to see you all. Welcome in to episode 29 of your favorite podcast. My favorite podcast. They're finally putting them on the internet. They're doing about video games sometimes, and it's us. We're the ones doing it. You know the name of it. It's Arcade Parlor. Yep, it's Arcade Parlor. This is episode 29. And we did it. Yeah, we made it to 29 episodes. Look at us. Look at us. Today's date is January 18th. The time is we're actually doing this a little bit early, 1:20 p.m. Eastern, a little bit earlier than we typically do. But we are here. And we have the episode releasing on January 20th. We want to thank those who are joining us live on twitch.tv. Thanks for tuning in, taking the time on this on your Saturday to listen to us. And we also want to thank those who subscribe to us and listen to us on the monthly release, which, again, that's January 20th. As of that day, you can listen to it. We want to say thank you to all of you. But welcome in. Welcome in. Episode 29 of Arcade Parlor. I look around the room. I am joined once again by Ashley. Ashley, hello.
Hi, Punch.
How are you doing?
I'm really excited. You're probably gonna hear it in my voice. I am massively excited today. Listen, 29 amazing episodes, so many incredible guests, so many incredible memories that you and I have with interviewing amazing people. But I think I'm allowed to say I've never been more excited for an episode than I am today.
I'm excited too. This is good. This is gonna be really, really fun. Absolutely. Ashley, it's great to have you on here. How are things in Florida?
Well, as always, I'm sorry to everybody. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now, and a lot of our friends are freezing cold, and I feel for you all. I really do. I was at the beach yesterday, hanging out with my mom. It was very rainy. I could say it was very rainy, but it's a cool 61 degrees Fahrenheit today. Partly cloudy, but it's beautiful. It's nice for outdoor exercise. Listen, 90% of the year I'm walking out into a furnace. Okay, you can't even go from your door to your car without schwitzing, and let me enjoy my 2 weeks.
Sweaty furnace.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know what I call it? I say it's like walking into a Mario water level. Your whole physics change. The way you walk. The way
I can picture that's like a pretty good picture.
I'm in South Florida too. Like, so it's swampy and misty, and it's just let me have my 2 weeks of nice weather, please.
Yeah. Fair.
I was just looking because I hadn't looked. I just heard. Tuesday, it's gonna be a high of 7 degrees here, and a low of -5. Just 7 degrees. Mm-hmm. 7 degrees. It's actually been like summer here the past 2 days. It's like 32 degrees, and like just yesterday. So on Fridays, I go into my work office, and there was some of my coworkers there. I was like, hey, let's go get lunch. So we were like, okay, where are we going to go? And I was like, you know, it's actually pretty nice out. How about we walk to the like restaurant, which is like, you know, probably a quarter mile away or something like that. And we did. It was great. It was like 32 degrees. It's like springtime here, and it was wonderful.
Were you wearing shorts?
No, I can't wear shorts to the office. Otherwise I would.
There's always that one guy that wears shorts when it's literally freezing out. It's not cold. It's still
You're looking
cold.
at him. Yeah. You're looking at the one guy right now.
I'm one of them. Yeah, I'm one of them.
There was I've been to Pancho Taco's house before, and it was snowing when I was there. There was snow on the ground, and his office where he works and does streaming is separated from his house. It's in your garage that you built out an office. So there's a little walk you have to do through snow if it's snowing out. And his foot attire was
You're gonna say
Crocs and socks.
No, okay. I did not wear socks. Okay. I don't wear socks with my Crocs. I mean, I keep it a little classy. I mean,
oh, okay. I'm so sorry. You wore open Crocs in the snow.
Well, it was either that or I wear my flip flops. I mean, I feel like these are better than flip flops, right? I mean,
at least they'll dry, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. They'll dry out. And I in fact I wore some out here today. They're just outside my door right now. If anybody doesn't know, my office, I built an office in my detached garage. It's got HVAC and everything in here because I work from home remotely. And my two girls, they took up all my office space in the house. So I had to build something. So I have to walk out here and I have to leave my shoe. My shoes are freezing cold every time I'm done working out here, and I have to put them on and walk in. So yeah, but they're just my rubber Crocs today.
Classy.
But there's no snow on the ground though. There's no snow. That my feet didn't get wet. It was. I am wearing jeans today. Yes, I am wearing jeans. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. So that's it here in Old Michigan, and then on Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever, high of 7 degrees. That's I'm not looking forward to that though. Ashley, it's great to have you on episode 29. We've been here a while. It's great to have you on here. I also look around the room, and we are joined yet again by another guest. Our 21st, I wrote this down, our 21st guest, 29 episodes, 21 guests.
Nice.
And we are joined by theSpaceVixen. Hello, SpaceVixen. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing all right. How are you guys? No, I'm happy. I'm happy to be doing. I'm mentally trying to figure out what 7 degrees Fahrenheit is in centigrade because I don't understand cold in Fahrenheit. I'm from Canada, if you didn't know, but I can only do hot in Fahrenheit because I live in Southern California and it's always melting. But I don't know cold in Fahrenheit. But I know that that's very cold.
Let me see. I'm looking it up. 7 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, minus 13.8. Yeah.
Put any kind of wind chill in that. That's bone chillingly cold. That's brutal.
It's the type of cold where you step out and like your nose hairs instantly freeze. Yeah. Like you're aware that you have nose hairs like the second you step outside. Like that's a thing. That's a thing.
That is the kind of cold that any wind just like bites your face, and it's just like it's like needles hitting you because it's so cold. Mm-hmm. Yeah, times.
Yeah. Yeah, we're dealing with the cold, and I know where you're at. You're dealing with like the other end of the spectrum right now, right? Out
we've
with the wildfires fire and everything. Yeah,
it's been this morning though. So it was been. Last Tuesday, a bunch of wildfires started in LA, and the one that's closest to us is currently 73% contained, which is fantastic. And the other big fire is 43% contained. So it's all very exciting. All of the evacuation zones are getting downgraded. It's just, there is like a very prevalent feeling that the entire city has gone through like a massive trauma, because if like we're very lucky, we didn't have to evacuate. We didn't lose, we lost power for 4 days, but we didn't lose our homes. We know 2 people who lost their home, and everybody in the city knows somebody who lost a home. And there's just this like feeling of loss and stress and like watching, feeling helpless. And it's just, it's a lot right now. It feels like a lot. Everybody is just like so legitimately concerned for everybody else right now. It's heartening to see people pull together, and it sucks that it takes something like this to see people pull together. But at least people are really like pulling to help rebuild communities and help people who are, so like thousands of people displaced and homeless right now. Because there's also issues with like areas that are damaged. There's like gas leaks, but they can't find what the leak is, so no one can go into their house again. It's going to be months before people can go home, and it's a lot. There's a lot happening right now.
It's like And I think we need to chill with the and what do you want to call it? The natural disasters we've had lately. Cause like, well, just a couple months ago, we had like those hurricanes that came through and like destroyed a whole bunch. Now we have wild. It's like again, opposite ends of the spectrum of the elements that are like attack. It's like, how about we just chill a little bit here? You know, it's
people keep saying like, well, we live in unprecedented times. And I'm like, I want precedented times back. There was a day in 1938 where the BBC was just like, there is no news today, and they played piano sonatas or something. And you know what? I would love that. I would love for there to be a day where it's like, there's really nothing that happened today.
That'd be cool.
That's not going to happen.
Can't imagine that.
But like, how nice does that sound? Nothing of note happened today. It's like, huh. Nice.
That was
okay.
just hearing the term unprecedented times. It just reminded me of like at the beginning of the pandemic or whatever. That was like the term that like annoyed me because everybody used it 24 unprecedented times. I was like, can we stop using that word? It's like I hate this word. We're just using it all the time.
Yeah. Yep. No, I do not wish to go back to the pandemic where, what drove me nuts about that was all the celebrities who were like, we're all in this together. We all just got to pull together. And I'm like, listen, Mrs., I have a mansion with outdoor space and I have people who can do stuff and we can afford to get like all of the vaccines and the tests and stuff. I am in a condo with no balcony and like 800 square feet and I can't go outside. So shut up. It's just like, we're not in this together. You're in this together is very different than mine. So yeah, it's just, I was just like, okay, I'm going to go live in Animal Crossing now. And I did. And it was nice.
Wow. So many people
like
did.
Half the world. It was...
I didn't go home for the holidays that year. Because traveling internationally was a disaster. I ripped down my entire island and like re-terraformed everything and I rebuilt my island. That's what I did for like the month of December. That was my Christmas present to myself, was just live in another world.
It kept you busy though, right? I feel like we all kind of did that.
Yeah. I think everyone needed that outlet just to like have something that was like devoid and separated from like that strain of uncertainty. And I just feel like we have not been in that uncertainty for a long time. And
I do have to say,
anyway,
like living in South Florida where hurricanes and things happen, like how you touched on like neighborliness. Yeah. That is the one thing I can always say from anything that happens, like natural disaster, from like a positive standpoint, is really and truly like you see like neighbors you never talked to in your whole life coming together and people helping each other and stuff. Real. And I like when Hurricane Katrina, like we didn't have power. My family didn't have power for 3 weeks. Our neighbor had a generator, gave us a line. We had a fridge and a TV. We thought we were rich. That's what we had, a TV. We had our one TV and our refrigerator. We thought we were living like kings.
That's huge.
But I say this because you had a good experience with your neighbor.
Yeah, and our like so we lost because the reason these fires have been so bad is because we also had this giant unprecedented Santa Ana wind event, and like we had hurricane force winds. Like it was winds up to 80 miles an hour, and it was like it was frightening. And we lost power, and we typically lose power during those events because then if a tree knocks over a power line and it's not active, it can't start a fire. Sure. So we lost power at like 5:30. We lost internet way before that. And Laser was at physio. He comes home and I like send him back to get candles, and he comes back and power comes back on, park the car in the garage, and then we just kind of go about our evening and power goes out again. And we're just sitting in the living room, like chatting. We've got candles lit. So it's just like, it's fine. We just figure the fridge will keep stuff cold for a day. Hopefully the winds die down and we move on. I stand up. We've only lived here for a year. We don't have window coverings yet in our main house. And I stood up and we just saw the hill on fire, like just a line of flame. Wow. And I just looked up and I was just like, oh my God. He said, what? I couldn't even like process what I was seeing. and it was just, I didn't know what to do because I've never, like, we moved to a new part of the city where I know what to do. I don't know what to do here. So I just I saw our neighbors running around with headlamps on outside, and I was like, I don't know what they're doing, but I want to do what they're doing because they know what they're doing, I think. So I just went over and I've met them a few times. Like, we say hi in passing, right? But I went over and I was like, hi. So do we run? What are we doing here? And because they're like, we're not prepared for this. So they had extra flashlights and battery banks and loaned us stuff and would exchange numbers. And she's like, I'll text you if anything changes. Because we didn't have enough cell service to download the map to see the evacuation zones at that point. Wow. We had no idea for a full day that the fire had actually gotten into neighborhoods, because that doesn't usually happen. But because of the winds, it just jumped. So we were talking, we managed this. Our saviors this time have been our neighbors, because they the man went to work. He had power a few towns over and charged our external batteries and just made sure that we were okay. And it was just well, on the plus side, we got to meet our neighbors out of this, and they're awesome. So yeah. But it was just being able to have a feeling of community when something like that happens is huge. So yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. So did with the power out, internet out, cell towers out, I imagine too, or were they semi-working?
Cell towers were working. I think it's because with everybody relying on the cell signal, it was just overwhelmed and people couldn't get data. So we're trying to load the CAL FIRE map and couldn't do it. It got to the point where my dad in Canada was looking at the map and texting me every hour to tell us what the zones were around us before we were able to get enough of a signal to actually follow it. And, texts were failing to people, so we couldn't really figure out what was going on. It was and that was the day on Wednesday, we can see mountains from our living room, and we could just see the fire just hanging out directly in front. And it was just I have no idea what to do right now, and we're disconnected from people, and it was just having our neighbors there definitely helped. But yeah, it was a lot. It was weird. It was and it was a full day before we could actually get a sense of what was actually happening.
Yeah, that's wild. I think about here, when power goes out or internet goes out, my phone is unusable because everybody, nobody has power, nobody's internet, so there's no Wi-Fi. Everyone's just bogging down every tower around here. Yeah, exactly. And and to have that in an actual emergency situation, that'd be quite frightening, where you don't have much of anything. I mean, were there radio? Radio anything like that? I don't know, emergency broadcast or anything? Maybe.
I didn't actually think about going in the car and seeing if there was an emergency broadcast. That's not a bad idea to think about next
good
time.
idea.
But, yeah, no, we don't have a radio.
Who does?
Neither do I. And I'm just thinking okay, maybe some old school tech is actually good.
And you know what? At the risk of sounding like a bit of a Luddite, I dislike our modern reliance on technology, because the second, if you think about it, the second you lose that stuff, you don't know what to do.
Right.
I really think it's not even just how to deal with an emergency. It's also you don't know what to do with yourself without having your phone for entertainment. So I feel that's a thing. And I'm I would love us to just move slightly away from the dependence on all of the technology, so that we think beyond well, everything comes through my phone and this is my lifeline and it's not working right now. I have no idea. I am just wandering through nature, yeah. Bit of a Luddite.
Yeah. So to say, I
love technology. This is super cool. The fact that we can talk from 3 different places and all I love it. But at the same time, I just feel we need to be okay when it goes away and not, have a radio. I think I want to buy a radio now.
Might not be a bad idea. That old school tech. I feel there's a couple cases where nothing's coming to mind right now, but where I hear of old school technology. The new tech, something happened like this and it was unusable, but the old school stuff, it still held strong.
Yeah.
There was
Saves the day.
Yeah, there was some older technology that they were using that kept it, that kept, I don't know, providing the service that people needed or something like that. And maybe radio is the one that we all need to keep for now still.
Yeah, not a bad call.
It was TV antenna for me back in the day. My dad had rabbit ears in the garage, and but it was back when I was in high school that we had that, where we had the 3 weeks of no power, and
you could still get stuff because of the rabbit ears?
Yep.
Huh, nice.
It was the early 2000s, or so yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it still worked.
Some of that stuff is really important.
I gotta admit, I kind of like living in Michigan, where the most natural disaster, horrible thing I have to worry about is maybe some rain. I mean, I kind of
you don't get like bad blizzards that can, big ice storms or anything?
Not since I was a kid. Not since I would say I remember when I was a kid, we'd get like snow that'd be like a foot, maybe even more. In the past 10 years, I don't know if we've ever gotten more than like 5 inches at a time or something that I can imagine, that I can remember. But like, I think statistically, I remember a number of years ago, I remember reading that statistically, I think Michigan was like the safest state as far as like either natural disasters or wildlife. Like there's nothing really here except for, I think in the UP, we have some wolves that have migrated to the lower peninsula over the past couple of years. But I think that's really about it. We do have, I think we do have a rattlesnake somewhere too. I've never seen one in real life, but apparently we do have them here.
Panthers.
You have the worst wildlife. I am like, yeah.
We're the Australia of the United States.
You are the Australia of the United States. I was going to say the only place I've ever been that I've been more scared of wildlife is Australia, because everything in Australia is trying to kill it. Yeah, I have a couple times, and I thankfully have never been there in the summer. So it's cold in their winter enough to where like there's no frogs in your toilet and like other scary items. But like
my mom's had snake in the toilet before and lizards. Bees in the toilet. It sounds crazy. How do they survive? Don't know. Grandma had bees in the toilet. Not even kidding.
Nope. Then the bees own the toilet now, and the room that it's in. And
I can't. Okay, so I knew some people who went to visit Australia, and they were staying with some other people who lived there. Some people who lived there, and one thing they said to me, and this is just it's wild to me, and I know this is like common knowledge that you want to keep like over there, you want to keep big spiders around because they kill the bad ones. They kill the scorpions. They do everything. Like I know over there, like for instance, you got to put like your shoes in bags at night. Otherwise there could be a scorpion in them in the morning or something, and you're in trouble. But he said that at their house, I don't know if this is like normal over there or something, but like there weren't windows for some reason. I don't know why. And I'm like, that seems like a terrible area not to have windows.
Where do they live?
I don't know, to be honest. Somewhere in Australia.
Definitely different, like because like the major cities are cities. Like you're gonna have bugs, but you're not like out in the bush. And I've been to some small towns. I did a speaking tour a few years ago, so I ended up going from like Byron Bay, which is like about middle on the East Coast, down to Sydney and then to Melbourne. And a friend of mine and I drove that distance, and we stopped in some like very small town places. And that's where I'm like, no, I would 100% see this being overrun by bugs, because there's not enough of like a city to kind of mitigate that population. But then as soon as you get into like a major city, it's not like, I don't know, I'm not afraid of toilet spiders in an apartment, but like in a hotel in a small town, I'm like,
you gotta check. But my friend, he said when he was visiting, windows. So they were somewhere where apparently they didn't have windows or something, and the guy warned them. He was like, okay, just so you know, during the night there's something that likes to come and visit that room. There's a spider that likes to come in every night. It's one of the good ones. So we let him stay around because he kills all the bad stuff. And so he's like, okay, well, that's fine, whatever. He said he did wake up middle of the night. It's usually like at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. He'll come in and just kind of walk around or whatever. But he said, yep, he woke up at 2 a.m. and there was this thing the size of like a dinner plate just like hanging out on the wall up there or something. And that's the one you don't kill because that one kills all the bad ones. And he was like,
I'm out.
It was creepy. He said he would just the size of a dinner plate.
Family is gonna come avenge it or something. Like,
yeah.
What the heck?
Oh no. I've gotten better about spiders. And again, non-Australian spiders, like the little ones. And I'm like, you know what? You eat the mosquitoes, you eat the stuff. I'm gonna just walk away and I'm gonna let you do your thing and you'll be gone in a minute. Or Pete will eat it. Pete's a cat for anybody who doesn't know. I don't have like a child Pete that just eats spiders. Although he is my son. But if I saw a spider the size of a dinner plate, I don't think I would ever be able to sleep again. I think I would just like, hi friends that I'm staying with. I'm gonna sleep in your bed tonight. Cool. Let's all cuddle in the non-spider room.
He said it was a nightly occurrence.
No,
it was always at like the same time. He would come in and just chill out on the walls and then leave. And they were saying, we don't touch him. He's our friend. Yeah.
Oh.
Just wild. With that. And that's. I think I told him again. I was like, yeah, I like living in Michigan. We got nothing here. We got like we get little wispy spiders in the house sometimes, occasionally or whatever. Or, I don't know. I mean, we have some kind of gross looking one. They're not like anything that's ever going to harm you here. But we get some kind of gross looking ones. But
I don't want to hear it.
And just garter snakes. That's it. Those are the two things: garter snakes and the common house spider or whatever.
Get out of here.
No, wildlife in Florida is terrifying.
Yeah.
Welcome to my life.
And you got the gators too, right?
You
Also,
do. You just see them everywhere.
Are the gators
everywhere.
like all over Florida, or are they just more towards like the glades or what?
Dude, I lived in a neighborhood where like there's a canal, children play near it, and you just got to make sure there's nothing lurking in it.
Oh my God.
They're everywhere. You'll see them on the side of the highway, in your backyard. You never know.
Nope.
It's really exciting here in Florida.
I've seen one once, and I was on a bus, and it still freaked me out because I couldn't believe that I was at the Kennedy Space Center, and every NASA site is a nature preserve because they're huge swaths of land. And I was like on a little shuttle going, I don't remember what I was doing there, but like past the visitor center, like on the base. Mm-hmm. And there was a fence, and there's just like some crocodiles hanging out or alligators. I know they're different. But I was just like, holy shit, they're just, oh, sorry.
You're good. Keep going.
You're good. I was like, oh my God, how are they just like there? They're just there and no one is saying anything. See, at like in California where JPL is, there's deer. And it's like you go to visit the lab and just Bambi's hanging out. Nice. And then there's right. It's very pretty. And they did have a mountain lion problem for a while. That was a little bit scarier. We just have coyotes. So Pete is never allowed to go outside.
Okay.
Ever. Again, cat, not human.
I hear we have coyotes. I've never seen one. I have. Okay, so my parents do own a little thing up in northern Michigan that we go to stay in once a week during the summer. And I know for a fact there's coyotes up there because we have heard them at night. We've heard them definitely killing some rabbit or something, and those things sound horrible when they're dying. They're just like squealing.
They do.
But no, we definitely do have those. I've never seen one. I think it's pretty rare. They're I've seen them like when we're driving out west, like in my wife has family in North Dakota. And when you're driving out there, just flat lands for miles. You can see like 8 miles east, west, north, south at all times in North Dakota. And like, you can see them all over the place. You can see them like, coming up on deer and stuff like that. It's kind of wild. But I don't think in Michigan I've ever seen anything except for a house dog or cats or something. Like there's really no wildlife, at least in my area. We don't really see our squirrels, just the common stuff you see in the neighborhoods. That's it.
I was walking my dogs a month ago and I saw 2 coyotes walk right by us. And one of my dogs is 4 pounds. So and the other is 9 pounds. So I picked him up and I just backed away slowly, not making a noise. And they went about their life.
Yeah. I feel like my biggest fear with coyotes is we have stray cats in the neighborhood that come by and say hi. And I'm so nervous when they stop coming by. I'm like, I just really hope a coyote didn't get you. I hope a family decided to take you inside and not that you got.
That's what I like to think.
We have a number of neighborhood cats too, and it used to be so garbage day is on Monday for us. So Sunday night, I will take out the garbage, and there used to be this pudgy cat, obviously well fed, so it was doing well somewhere. Would always come out and would take out the trash with me every single Sunday night. Like I would go to get trash cans, and there the cat was. Follow me, the friendliest thing ever. I'm not going to pet its belly, a stray cat or anything like that, but I would like pat its head and everything. It wanted all the attention, and then it was just gone for just disappear. I'm like, I don't know whatever happened. Then it still pops by every once in a while, just not weekly like it used to. So
it's your little garbage cat.
Yeah. And usually she has he or she, I don't know, has a little friend, a little smaller black cat that I can't get more than 15 feet away from it. And otherwise it runs away. But there's always usually the other one's lurking not too far behind her. And this one's the friendliest. It wants to come into our house. I don't know if my cat would. I don't know what my cat would do with another cat. She's never been socialized to any degree with other animals. But I'm not going to let it in. But she tries to push her way in. She's really sweet. We give her treats and stuff when we see her and stuff. But she's living a good life though. She's pudgy and walking around and all the time, and I think she's living her best life outdoors right now. But yeah, we have quite a few, and I feel like in fact just the other week my wife and we were sitting downstairs. It was like 10:30 at night, and suddenly I thought it was coming from the TV at first. We were watching something, and I just heard like all this like out our back window, and I just look, and there's these two cats that were like just going at it, like they were just mad at each other. It was loud. I thought it was the TV, and sure enough, I opened up the door to go see what's going on. And they split. One goes underneath my car, the other one I don't know where it went, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on back here.
Break it up, kids.
Their little turf war.
Yeah, probably a turf war. They were two I had never seen before either. Like they weren't the usual one. I don't know. We have quite a few of them, and I don't mind them. I kind of like stray cats to a degree, but yeah, we have quite a few of them around here. No gators though.
Okay.
We do have groundhogs sometimes. I do see groundhogs in our backyard, just passing through. Doesn't really do anything. He just has a trek. He goes somewhere else, passes through. But they're kind of cute. They're fat and I don't know, roly poly as they run by and they jiggle. It's kind of cool.
Sounds way cuter than gators.
Yeah, by far. Before we go any further, I'll intro myself, I guess. This is me, David, your host, Pancho Taco on Twitch. Happy to be here on episode 29 as well. And the only thing I have to say is, as far as like life updates or whatever, I'm excited. I'm going on vacation next week. My wife and I, we just we're back in June. We celebrated 10 years of marriage, and we wanted to wait until the winter months because who wants to go somewhere warm when it's warm at home? So we waited for the winter months, and next week we're going on a cruise to Mexico and go see some Mayan temples and stuff like that, and Honduras and stuff. Cool. So we're super looking forward to that. Neither of us have ever been on a cruise before, but we got it's a gigantic boat. One of the biggest ones there are, so there's plenty to do on it and stuff. And we're looking for it. I've never been on one. I know, Ashley, you've been on a couple?
Yeah.
Right?
One. Oh, nice. I went on one cruise in my life. It was a work cruise when I worked at the tanning salon many, many moons ago. They took all their district managers on a cruise. Sure. But they said if you were married, you could take your significant other, which of course I was not married. So there was 4 single girls on the cruise, and they put me in the room with the youngest girl, and she wanted to party. She wanted to go out. Like, they give you an itinerary of like everything going on, and I was like, you know what? I'm going. And now I wasn't drinking because it was I considered it a work trip. So some of the girls got a little But I
Less
tried to
professional?
be less professional. That was good. I
Less
like
professional.
that. Me and this girl, can I tell you, we're still friends. We had the best time ever.
Nice.
We did every activity, every social thing we could do. We did all the excursions. I swam with stingrays, and we were out in the middle of the ocean swimming, which was terrifying, by the way.
Yeah.
But super fun. But all I can say is make the most of it. Take motion sickness pills with you, because I didn't. But thank God this girl on the trip had a ton of extra, and she forgot her bathing suit bottoms, so I let her borrow mine, and she gave me motion sickness medicine the whole time. Thanks, girl. And also, I don't know if you've seen, but your wife sent me some pictures of some of the pretty dresses that she bought for the cruise. So she's gonna be looking hot on that cruise.
Oh yeah, I've seen them. Yeah, they're very nice. Yeah. I've never experienced any form of motion sickness in my life. But I at the same time, I hear people say that, and then when they're out on the ocean, I hear it's almost like a different story.
It's totally different.
Especially if you on the small, like it's one of those things that like scales with the, or it like reverse scales with the boat, right? The smaller the boat, the higher chance of seasickness, I guess, because you don't break the waves as often or something. And I've heard I used to have a coworker who was a big into hunting, into fishing and stuff like that, and he went deep sea fishing in like a 20-foot boat or something, and he rock hard stomach and everything, but he said, man, some of those waves, when it's just constant, they're not even like breaking waves or anything, it's just constant up, down, 20 feet up, 20 feet down, 20 feet up, 20. He said it's gonna get to you. Like it's like inevitable. Like there's a degree that the body can only really take or something, it seems like even if you've never experienced it. So I'm like, I've never experienced motion sickness in my life.
Just in case.
I know they carry those medicine or whatever on the boats and stuff for emergency or for needs and stuff like that. But I don't know. We'll see. I've never experienced it. I'm not expecting to, but I don't know. You never know.
I wish you luck, my friend. But I hope that you guys have a great time. You deserve a little break.
Yeah, we're super looking forward to it. I think we booked it like 18 months ago or something.
Wow.
And yeah, we're only at any given time, we're only on the boat for 24 hours before we're off. So it's not like I hear some cruises where they're like, yeah, we're on the boat for like 72 hours at a time sometimes, and it kind of gets a little long towards those end of those stretches before you get to your destinations and stuff. But I think max we're only 24 hours before we're getting off at some destination or whatever, where we have plenty of stuff that we're planning to do and stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Mayan temples. I think that's gonna be really cool. We have like a private tour booked. Yeah, we're gonna take like a Jeep ride over to it or something.
Wow.
Rather more private. Like I think there's only gonna be like four to six people, I think, maximum for this whole tour or something. So it's gonna be really cool. Just kind of small. So I think that's gonna be pretty cool. So yeah, that's coming up next week. So I'm going to be offline for quite a bit. No streams for a while. I think I'm gone for like 10 days or something like that. And
I'll be covering all your shifts.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. I always look forward to it though. It is nice to get off of like Twitch for a little while to kind of recharge and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. Just to get a little recharge and stuff like that. But yeah, it's going to be really fun. Looking forward to it. Yeah, so this episode 29, we're joined, like I said, SpaceVixen, we're joined by you. Thank you for being here today. I figured let's talk about you a little bit. I mean, you're our 21st guest, 21st guest. Tell us a little about yourself. Like, when did you? Let's start like on the stream side, maybe, or which side do you want to start on? Because I know you do a lot of stuff that's not like you do a lot online content that's just not Twitch, right? Yeah. You do a lot. Yeah. Where do you want? Where would you want to start?
I don't know. I don't know. Wherever I was gonna say, tell me about yourself. I dislike giant spiders.
Okay.
I mean, I can start with the stream, like how I ended up starting streaming, because since this is kind of like,
let's go there. Yeah.
When did I start? I just had my 4-year partner anniversary. So I started streaming 4 years ago. The only speed run I've ever gotten a world record in is speedrunning partner percent. I got partnered pretty much immediately because I had an audience elsewhere. So I hit, I think my first stream was like November 4th and I got partner on December 4th. Like the first day that I was eligible for partner, I got it.
What?
And it's because I had like other platforms and people were coming in, so I hit that 75 viewer threshold. So it makes it really easy for me to remember when I started streaming. So it would have been the end of 2020, which was, when everybody started streaming. But I started streaming because, and it like ties into the other stuff. So I'm also an author, among other things. And my last book came out in February of 2020, which was perfectly timed for the entire country to shut down, for every promotional event that we had planned to be canceled, and for everybody to not care about a book about history. People wanted to read fluffy fiction, fantasy, and books about viruses. So I, 4 years of my life writing this book, really excited for the release. It comes out and just like DOA. And I didn't really know what to do with it. And like I've been doing YouTube content since 2012. And
wow, it's a long time.
Yeah, I've been on YouTube for a really long time. And my YouTube channel is largely, or up to that point, had largely been spaceflight history, like very pointed, specific, weird stuff in spaceflight history. And my book was not about spaceflight necessarily; it was adjacent. But my YouTube audience was mad that I took time off to finish writing a book. And then when I did come back, it was to promote the book. And the book's not about space, and the book's about women. So now I'm just a gross feminist and nobody wants to listen to me talk anymore. And you used to be good. Stay in your lane. And it just became this overwhelming thing. And I started I still was making some space content just to try to like keep that channel. Cause like I am a full-time content creator. I don't have a side job that's like, pays the bills. So I needed to keep making content, but I started just like hating the YouTube content because I just felt like I felt so bad that like I was so excited to talk about what I had been researching for 4 years. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, well, let me just tell you about the moon landing again, I guess. And I just like, I kind of just hit my breaking point, and I actually stopped making YouTube content for like 2.5 years. And I started streaming on Twitch because I needed another outlet. And I watched Twitch and I was like, I think I could maybe do that. So I started part-time, and it was initially, I was like, I'll talk about something like science or history related, and then I'll play video games. And that disappeared very fast, and I just play video games. But like I encourage ranting about like history topics or science topics. And it was a really weird thing because my audience would come in and just like ask me very pointed questions about rockets. And I was like, I'm not space Google. We're doing something different here. And I still get that. I still get people that come in and they're just like, I see it all the time, like first time chat, like, can you explain to me this thing? And I'm like, no, we're in the, like, there's
not
a
right
community
now
here that's having a conversation. If it comes up naturally, we'll talk about it, but I don't want to be here and just have it be like, so the stream has definitely evolved, and it's always been like part-time on the side of like all of the other stuff. But that's kind of how I ended up streaming. It was really just like, I needed a way of making content that was like not researching constantly, and like, because when I for my YouTube content, I research, I film, I edit, I do the animations, I source all the B-roll, like all of that's just me, and it's a lot. And I was like, I want to make content where I don't have to prepare for months for one piece of content. So I just went in and I was like, we don't prep stuff. I just play games and whatever happens. And yeah.
So those first streams, like, were you like just chatting? Were you planning to do just chatting? And then like you were planning to do half video games? Like what? Yeah. Like, you were playing video games too, right?
Yeah, it was what I initially wanted to do was like a 2-hour just chatting segment and a 2-hour gaming segment. Okay. And I realized that, we all stream here. Streaming is really, really hard when your audience is not super engaged in the topic.
Sure.
So you can like doing a just chatting sequence or doing a just chatting segment when your audience is kind of just like coming from all different things and they have their own questions. Like it was really hard for me to have a conversation. And I didn't want to prepare a lecture. Like I didn't want to have to give a 2-hour lecture. So that's why the just chatting kind of died. But like, you know, I actually found a paper, and then I will use the technical term so that I don't have to get beeped a second time, about digital expositionism and why men are fall to digital expositionism as a way of courting women. So we talked about that from like the science perspective and the psychology of it. And we talked about like I shared just like random artifacts and like stuff that I have. So that was kind of where the just chatting started. But it got to the point where like I just wanted to play video games. I was like, how about we just play something and then I can just like chat and hang out while I do this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it evolved and that's where it is now. And you know, fewer people come in and just like, I mean, someone literally came in once and they were like, can you tell me the specifics about this engine on this rocket? Because I'm building a model and I'm not sure exactly how to do it. And I was like, no, like, I mean, I could if you were like, if I had the documentation and could read it, which spoiler alert, you're on the internet. You can Google this yourself. Like, I don't know why I just have to have the answers. But I still get weirdos. There's like, I have an infamous thing that happened in my chat where this guy came in and he was like, because I was playing Grand Prix World and there's a level that has the little fuzzies everywhere and it's just known as Corn Dilly.
Yes.
And I made my title that day, Get Your Dillies Out, because Laser has the dancing corn dilly emote and we have obviously like a very strong overlap in our chats. And this guy comes in and he just says, it's really hard to see you like this, talking about boys' dillies. You're better than that. You're the reason I got into space. Call me when you're ready, and gave me his phone number.
No.
And left. And I'm just like, I can't. Dude, don't put your phone number in chat, man. Also, it's like, it's clearly a joke. It's clearly I'm talking about. So like, I still get people like that sometimes. It's very funny. So yeah, that's the fun stuff now.
What was in your first streams, did you go right into Kaizo SMW?
No, I said that I started playing a standard hack, I think called Same Sprites, Different Levels. So the sprites are all in the same position, but I forget who made it, built a different level around it. And it's really fun. It was a really fun hack. And then I was like, if we get partner, I'll start Kaizo. And then I got partner in a month. So we started playing Kaizo right away.
Immediately.
And we, did Quickie World 2 was the first. And like, you know, there were a lot of people in the community that reached out and like were really helpful to helping me learn and stuff. And I don't know. I mean, I like every single person who streams Kaizo, they saw a epic speed run happen at a GDQ or something and was like, that looks super cool. I want to learn how to do that. And like most of the community, it was watching Pooh run Dram, and I have since played Dram and it was super fun. I never want to speed run, but it was just fun to start learning it. Although now I have kind of like, I'm still playing Mario. I just like, we have had such a stressful few weeks that I'm like, we're just playing Dave the Diver now. We're just taking an all day break because I can't be stressed out playing video games right now. I'm too tired. Yeah, that's the one thing about Kaizo, which, you know, it's like, oh man, sometimes it just like feels like you're smashing your head against a block for hours.
Sometimes
you never make any progress. And I'm like, okay, I need a break from this right now.
That was my question. That was, and you ended up answering. It's like an interesting dynamic of where you started. You said all your videos and stuff you put on YouTube, it's all science related. Weird, interesting facts that maybe somebody didn't know or something. And then you're over here suddenly just playing Mario games, right? Like the interesting like overlap, because obviously you're gonna have people who have been following you since 2012. They're going to be like, oh, what are you doing over here live? And then they're seeing like, it's got to be like, my question was going to be like, how does that translate, to chat? And apparently it doesn't translate well sometimes.
It is like a really weird thing. Cause my I mean, I think we know Twitch has a very strong male audience. It's definitely a largely male audience on Twitch. And my YouTube audience, last I checked, was something like 97.8% male. And it's, you know, like history skews male, space skews male, science skews male. Like everything I do just skews hugely male. And words are hard. It skews older male. Like my demographic is like 35 at the youngest. But generally, like there's a ton of people who grew up watching the moon landings or grew up in like the early shuttle era, and they just love learning about this history. And I have done so much of the digging and done it in like an accessible way for people that a lot of them are just like, you're streaming now? Oh, this is disgusting. You've like debased yourself. And I'm like, no, I just like have a casual interest and enjoy playing video games. And like so many people in our current hustle culture, like as a creator, you kind of need to do a lot of different things to make it work. And you don't have to watch the stream if you don't want to. Nothing's changing anywhere else. So yeah, people are like mad about it. They're also mad about my hair though. So, you know, it is.
if you're on video, if you're on camera, people are just mad. It just in general, it turns out.
Pretty much.
So is your YouTube today, like, is it still none of your Twitch stuff bleeds into YouTube, or is it completely a full separation of the two?
I think I have a few. I've never they're in a playlist, but I never made them like they're public, but I never published them. So you never got like a ping, but I have like, I think my Grand Parole 2 playthrough is up there, but like you'd have to look to find it. That wouldn't show up if you just like follow my channel. So I did bring the channel back a few months ago, and now I do daily shorts, which is a lot. I'm trying to write 5 long form videos, and I'm going to actually, for the first time ever, hire someone to film it so that I don't have to mess with lighting and audio and all of that. Cause like the days that I shoot, it's like 3 hours for me to figure out, because I don't have a setup. I can't do it here. I have a teleprompter. So like I stand in the corner and I don't have good lighting, and my audio is like, it's not the best quality audio. And I have to film it actually because they're so long. I use my phone as a camera into OBS, and it doesn't look good. I don't have depth of field, and I'm like, I think it's time to just hire someone. So I'm going to get all these scripts done. I'm going to have this guy come over, and it's going to be like, you have to listen to me for like 7 hours. But it's a guy that I know.
He's going to learn something. He works on
another show. He's going to learn a lot of stuff. He works on another show that I work on, and I've worked with him for years. And when I was like, so would you be okay like listening to me talk for 7 hours? He's like, it would not be the first time. I'm like, that's pretty fair, because I do these like interview days where it's like a 7-hour shoot day, and he's sitting there doing the audio, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll feed you.
Will you still edit everything yourself?
And I'll still edit it. Yeah. I find having someone else edit video is really hard. It's like a lot to trust somebody to tell your story. Even though like my stuff is all researched history and there's a full script, it's like I still have a vision for how I want like the animation to show to like explain something, or what B-roll I want where, and like how I want the cuts to look and stuff. I can't imagine. I feel like you'd have to work with someone for years before I could just be like, here's the raw file, I trust you. Yeah.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah. So YouTube is like the big thing on the other side, which is why I stream part-time and in the evenings and on the weekends when I'm after my workday. Yeah.
So are you your full-time content creation with the YouTube and everything, or do you do anything else, or that's it?
So I make YouTube content. I stream. I'm trying to sell a new book. So that's the thing right now that is like, sell it, find a lit agent. It's just been on the go for like 4 years. My lit agent actually dropped me a few years ago. So I've been like trying to figure out how to get that going. So like that in itself is a full-time job. It's just a full-time job that doesn't pay. Because I've done the research, I have gone to sites, I have a proposal for this book that is 97 pages. It is not a small amount of work, and all of this is like front loading the work, hoping that it pays off, and like there's a lot of that. So
this is all fighting for space, right?
No, this is a new book.
You have a new book.
I am trying. Yeah, I'm not talking about it yet because I don't have a home for it. I've been working on researching, trying to find a lit agent to sell this new book for 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's like a big part of what I'm doing is like all of the like YouTube stuff that I do. A lot of like the shorts go up on Instagram as well, and
Right.
Twitter. Over the top eye roll at Twitter, and all like trying to maintain and like grow the social platforms, because right now people don't care what your book is about. They just care how many units you can move. So if you have under 1 million on any platform, they don't really want to talk to you. So your whole landscape becomes like, it's such a disaster. Like you see people getting book deals because they're big on TikTok, and it's like, but what is the book? It's like, why is a 16-year-old writing a memoir about their time in the beauty industry when like but people buy it because they have huge numbers on social media. But when your audience is largely older who is not on social media, it's really hard to show that translation.
Sure.
So I'm working on like growing all that stuff and like building this proposal and doing this research. And I guess the other thing I do is I do a lot of TV interviews as much as I can, because that it's fun, first of all, because I get to be a part of some crazy stuff. But also like it's a fantastic way to kind of keep my name out there and be like, okay, I don't have 1 million people on Instagram, but I am like a regular contributor on these 3 shows on the Science Channel and History, and like I have network ties and stuff. So like that helps. Mostly it's super fun because I get to talk about crazy stories. Yeah.
So is Twitch the only place that you use your SpaceVixen handle, or everywhere else it's just your real name everywhere else, right?
Yep. Yeah, and I started doing it because I was a viewer on Twitch for years before I started streaming, and I didn't really want to have my name out there.
Sure.
Right.
And I couldn't figure it out, and a friend once, when he was really drunk, would call me SpaceVixen, and I thought that was very funny, so I used it as and SpaceVixen was taken, which is why it's the. I don't like the honorific of the, but like SpaceVixen was not available, so I took and then I started streaming, and then I was like, it feels a little bit weird to just like suddenly change my name because I'm in communities, and my name's never been hidden. I mean, it can't be. I'm sitting like all of my socials is just my full name. Twitch is the only place that's different. So yeah, which is so funny because people like my name, people come in and call me Amy and I don't care, and there's other people who would like only ever call me Vixen.
Right.
Yeah, it is a lot of I see a lot of first time chats in your stream calling you Amy, and I always wonder if they migrated over from the YouTube side or somehow from your books and everything, because you can kind of tell, because there are a lot of people in your stream who call you Amy.
Yeah. And I think increasingly a little bit from Twitch too. And I don't care if they do, honestly. It's I've never had a strong enough separation. I just liked it because then I could kind of do like people who got mad that I was, playing video games on a completely different platform than my YouTube content. I could be like, well, it's this version. It's this like persona, because everyone has an online self that they put forward. So that was, I don't know.
On the video game side, it says on your stream that in your About Me section, it says that you missed a lot of classics growing up.
Yeah.
So growing up, did you play like a lot of video games at all, or have any video game systems at all when you were growing up in Canada?
I only ever had a Super Nintendo. Ever. And I still have it. It still works. I got it for Christmas when I was 6 or 7.
Wow.
It would have been, maybe I was 6, because it would have been right when the Super Nintendo came out. As I give away my age. But a friend had one and I loved playing it, and my parents got me one for Christmas, and we got second controller. I had Super Mario World, Mario Kart, Super Mario All-Stars. My dad had Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball, and my mom had Tetris too. And those were the 5 games that I had. So like I never played Yoshi's Island. I never played a Kirby game. I never played like a lot of the classics. So I was a competitive gymnast. So I was by the time I was 8, I was training 16 hours a week.
Wow.
Plus school. Plus I also started taking voice lessons because I was in a car accident and I didn't know if I could continue sport. My parents wanted me to develop a skill that wasn't athletic just in case. So then I ended up also doing music. And then like I didn't, my mom, I was the classic, like the oven timer for how long I could play video games. I didn't beat Super Mario World till I was like 15. Because I never had time. I never had time to devote to getting good at it. But I love that game. Like I just love that game so much as a kid. And then when I saw that Kaizo existed, it was like a whole nother, like I always say, that island above Top Secret place in Super Mario World? There's like a little island on the map that's not connected to anything. I was always like, wouldn't it be so cool if there was like a secret way to get like another level out of that? Finding Kaizo was like finding that island is like an entire world. And I was just like, and that's why like as much as I get so mad at Mario some days and just like really can't stand some of the gimmicks, I come back to it because I, at the end of the day, just love it. So that's why like I never had any other systems. My cousin had a Nintendo. Played it sometimes. He had a Sega. Like we played Lemmings. and then like I got a Switch not too long after it came out, and then that kind of like rekindled my love of video games. And I was like, it is nice to just like chill sometimes. Yeah. Although like I'm sure you guys have also experienced like streaming video games has changed my relationship with video games, but that's okay. That's another conversation. Yeah. Definitely don't play video games for pleasure anymore. Aside from Animal Crossing.
There's definitely like when you get into streaming, there's definitely a section of your brain like if you do play something offline, it's like I could be doing something with this, playing this right now,
making this content.
Like I could, but and then like I've gotten pretty good lately about compartmentalizing it, and it's like okay, I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy this, on my own time, or if it's something that my wife would want to watch or something like that. I've been able to compartmentalize it a little bit, but there's definitely still that little thing in your brain that's like, but I could be chatting with people, putting stuff out there, doing this, but it's like, I'm going to sit back. I'm just going to enjoy this, I think.
Do you do the thing where it's like, I think this game looks fun, but I don't think it would be good to stream, so I'll make this my offline game and just kind of separate that way?
That's always consideration, yeah.
Yeah, I've
been
trying to do that and find games where I'm like, I would like to look at this. I don't know if I want to stream it. Maybe I'll just play it. And then it's whether I get to it or not. But, I do enjoy that.
I've often found that's with heavy story games can be a little difficult to stream because, your people want to come and watch. But like if they missed like 2 streams or something, they're like, I don't know what's going on in the story, they have no idea. So I find those tend to be the best for that, is to find one that I want to watch the story and everything and see what's going on, and that ends up usually being the offline choice for me.
That makes sense.
So you said you've been doing YouTube stuff since 2012. Is it at what point like did YouTube where you're like, hey, I can kind of, make a kind of a living off doing this? Like, this is going to be my full-time thing from here. Like,
at what point did you realize that you could do content creation? Like, what were you doing? And then what made you do content creation full time?
I started. So all of this started when I finished my master's degree. This is the story I always end up telling. So I finished my master's degree, and I have a degree in science and technology studies. And it's basically like, I always say that I do history that's like made of science. So there's no like hard science involved, but it's kind of like the social and political aspect of it and the history, and it's really fun. But I like super duper hate academic writing because it's, I don't know why I would want to spend 5 years writing a dissertation to appease 5 people when I could spend 5 years writing a book that might excite 500 or 5,000 people. Sure. So I decided I wanted to kind of go into like popular science writing, which was not really a thing that I knew about, and like science communication. I didn't know how to do that. At the time, I was also dating a guy who lived in Arizona. So I didn't get into any PhD programs. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And I decided I would go down and I would stay with him for a year and just like see if our relationship was worth pursuing. I got certified as a personal trainer. So I was working as a personal trainer. I
Whoa.
also had a part-time job with the National Science Foundation, transcribing 19th century Irish physicist John Tyndall's personal correspondence. So it was weird. It was a weird amount of things to do. But I ended up just like not applying to grad programs again because I decided I didn't really want to do that. And I started writing a blog just to like figure out how I wanted to write. And the blog started doing well enough that within a few months I was starting to get a few paid positions, like small niche websites. But already, and like I hate that now that I think about this, I hate that I saw this 15 years ago. People don't like to read, it turns out. People don't want to read anymore. And that's why I started making YouTube content, because it was like, well, people want visual things. So I started doing YouTube content that was like introductions to push people to the blog, because the blog was like all the work. I want you to read that.
Right.
And then I started doing like the short version videos that would direct you to the full story if you didn't want the full. So it's basically like a longer short is what it was. They were like 3-minute videos. And all of that was happening. And this is like, we're in like 2013. A guy reached out to me from a publisher and was like, we're putting together a list of science writers. Do you want to write a book? And I was like, actually, yeah. I do. And that became my first book, Breaking the Chains of Gravity. And it was, it was a huge learning experience. It was a very stressful experience. And nothing was more stressful than re-recording the audiobook a few years ago because, oh my God, I'm a better writer now. But anyways, around the time that was happening, like I think I actually found something. And around the time when that book came out, around 2014, I had 1,400 YouTube subscribers. And YouTube actually reached out to me for like a development program. And they were like, you're very small, but very niche and very interesting. We'd like to fund you to grow your channel. And that was when I was like, maybe there is something to what I'm working on. And it was like, I started doing, it was 2 videos per the contract. It was 2 videos a week for 6 months. And I saw like incredible growth and like a lot of support coming in. And that was when I actually ended up moving out here. Was like, I think I could actually make this work. I like didn't renew my personal training certification for a new state and just said, I think I'm able, like at that point I was writing for like 4 websites. And they're, they all pay you like $25 an article. Like nowhere is like a place where I could just be working there. So I was like working for 5 different places and making YouTube content and making my blog and working on this book. And like all of those things together, I was like, okay, I think I can make this work. It's just not going to be one thing. It's going to be like 7 things. So there's always been like the added, this on the side. Okay, this is like a big thing for the year. And it's always kind of been like that.
I can't imagine your resume.
It's weird.
Spaceflight historian, author, Kaizo Streamer, content creator, blogger, personal trainer.
It's I've done a lot of very strange things, and it's just it's because at the time my mom was working with a trainer. When I moved back home, I lived at home and I did my master's, and my mom had a trainer, and I was like, because I have a lot of injuries from stuff, and I was like, I've always been afraid to work out, so I started working with this trainer as well, and she's great. She's this like fiery little Scottish woman, and I love her. She's my mom still works with her. It's been like 20 years. She's fantastic. And she was the one that was like, if you're gonna go out and try to make things work in Phoenix for a year and see what happens, get certified as a trainer. Like, you were a gymnast, bodies, this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna make more money, and you're gonna have more flexibility, and you're gonna have more fun than working at Starbucks or working in a bar. And I was like, you're not wrong. I would enjoy that more. Mm-hmm. So that's how I did it. She was just really encouraging me to like do something a little bit different, and I'm glad I did it. I was never like huge as a trainer. I never had like a huge roster of clients, but I could set my own hours, so I could write in the morning, and then I had like 4 clients in the evening, and that was it.
That's awesome. So whenever we do the podcast, we always have like a section at the end where we talk about things coming up and promotional stuff. So usually we save that stuff for last. But first of all, I have props for today. For those
Oh,
who are
boy.
visually watching us, for those who are visual
Props.
today, I'm holding up both of Vixen Amy's books right now that are not the secret book, Fighting for Space and Breaking the Chains of Gravity. Question for you. What is the best place for our listeners to purchase, to get the audio book? I actually asked you this before I bought the books. But for those who are interested, I have a lot of readers I know in my community. We're starting a book club in my community soon.
Like a real one, not just reading 50 Shades of Grey to your chat.
I have a ton of readers in my community. And they, when I even said whispered book club, everyone just went nuts. So I'm going to be starting one in my stream in the next couple of months. And I think we need to get one of these on the roster for sure. Where's the best place for our listeners to get it, to hear it?
However you want to consume books is best. I don't sell anything directly, so it's all going to go through a third party or the publisher. Audiobook. I narrated both of the audiobooks. I know for a lot of people, they prefer, especially because I have like a known voice, they prefer to hear me reading it. I've narrated both of my audiobooks at this point, ebooks and physical books, hardcover, paperback, however you want to buy them. All of that, trickles back to my numbers. So it all helps. I think the only thing that doesn't help an author is if you buy it used. And I get used books. I buy used books all the time, but like if you buy a new book, that registers with my publisher that it's another sale. That's the only thing. But Amazon. I know, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Amazon and its monopoly on everything, but like that's where people buy books. The audiobook,
their Kindles, all that. Yeah,
Kindle, it's all like you can get
it's accessible at least. Yeah,
it's accessible. So I know. Yeah. I try to not buy literally everything on Amazon, but I also recognize how convenient it is, and I buy a lot of stuff on Amazon.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yep.
So I think you mentioned it before, but you said you did your own audio reading for the book. So if you're like on Audible or something, it'll be actually you reading it. I think you mentioned before, but it's going back to like your original work when you did the recording. Did you have to like stop multiple times? Like, why did I write it this way? How difficult was that?
So I had two very different experiences because when my first book came out, I did not have I was not a person yet. Like I didn't have any bargaining chips. Like they did the audiobook and it wasn't even an option for me to narrate the audiobook. And people were really mad about it because they know my voice and like there's a lot of German names because it goes into World War II rocketry. And, apparently the woman who did it just didn't pronounce things right. Not that my German accent is any good at all. But so I was like so removed from that at all. And then I hated that I didn't do it. So when my second book, when we were negotiating that contract, that was in the contract. I was like, if it's an audiobook, I'm narrating it. Or you don't make it. That's it. So that was, baked in the contract, and I did it, and it was excellent because with publishing, like you write the book, it goes to your editor, you go back and forth, yada, yada, yada. And then you get like your final page proofs, and you have to like go through it with a fine-tooth comb and, find typos, find errors, find inconsistencies, anything that like you introduce accidentally in the writing process that like, because you know what it is, your brain skips over it. Hardest thing to do, because the best way to do it is to read it out loud. But when you've written a book and you know it, it's just like, I don't want to go through this again. This book is also something like 430 pages. It was long to go through with a fine-tooth comb. And that was the time when I was doing the audiobook. So it was like perfect because I had to sit down and read it out loud. And so I did it. I didn't record it. I did it in a proper studio with an engineer because I wouldn't be able to do it. And it's so interesting because like you have to turn your phone off, not like on airplane mode, because you can hear the electrical bit of your phone just existing on the microphone. It picks it up. So it is. Like I've got the headphones on, I can hear me, and it is the cleanest I've ever heard audio in my life. It's wild. So, any time that I kind of fumbled a word, he would stop me and we would go back to the beginning of that sentence or go to a pickup. And it took like 4 days to do the audio.
Wow.
But we did find a couple of things, like a couple of typos, a couple of things where like I had put something in earlier that had then introduced an inconsistency in the way that I was telling the narrative. And I was like, oh yeah, they weren't married at this point. relation, whatever. And then like we were able to catch those things. So that was great. So then like a couple of years later, my editor from Breaking the Chains is like, oh, the audiobook option expired and they wanted, if you want to re-record it, we could do that. And I was like, yes, I want to re-record it. And I had to sit down and I had to read like 10-year-old writing. And I was just like, why did I make this sentence? I'm reading a sentence because like you don't read out loud and you write. I had sentences with like big German names in them. They're like 4.5 lines long. And I'm like out of breath at the end of the sentence. And all of the like umlauted vowels that I can't pronounce, I'm just like, why did I do this to myself? The other thing was, as I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, that's a typo. That's like, I introduced an error because that's a typo.
Mhm.
So we can fix all of these things. And like, there's, just a couple of, I was so upset that I didn't get a chance to fix that in the book before it came out. Cause it just like, I didn't have time and the right like ability to do it. But so yeah, now going forward, that's something that I will put in a contract is I'm narrating the audiobook so I can do that.
That's smart. You know what it
I've
reminds me of?
learned
Like
a lot.
in streaming, you ever like watch like an old VOD, like a 3-4-year-old VOD of
No,
yours, and you're just like,
They're terrible. I have old clips of myself and I look at it, I'm just like, oh, this is just, I can't even. I know people that watch their VODs back to like see what they did well and see what they want to improve on. And I'm like, how do you do that? I could not stomach going back and watching my old VODs. Do you guys watch your old VODs?
I don't have you have a few of them on your YouTube, Poncho. You're like your first streams.
The only VODs that I do is I reference it for like audio quality, maybe. That's it. Like I'll tune and be like, okay, I've tuned my microphone a certain way. How did it come across on stream with also balancing against the game and stuff like that? Just for my own reference. But mentioned anything in stream, so it's probably fine. But I want to do it because I'm kind of a stickler for how I want my microphone to sound and stuff like that. So but I don't go like far back. I'll just reference like the previous stream. Like I'll just pull it, jump to the middle or something like that, and just listen for like 2 or 3 minutes. And be like, all right, it's good. That's what I'm looking for or something. But it's usually I only watch them to like improve more on the technical side. That's about it.
Yeah,
I feel like that is so much better for your headspace than going back and looking at what you used to, how you sounded, what you said that day. And I'm just like, it's never going to be really awful.
I have a lot of old clips that I'm just like, well, that happened.
Yeah, right.
So Vixen, I have a burning question.
Yeah.
I've been in your stream and your community for over a year now.
Yeah.
And I told you I told you I waited to ask this question on purpose because I wanted it for the podcast. And one of the things that's so awesome about your stream and your community is you and Laser Belch being in a relationship. And some of my favorite stuff is when you're struggling on something, Kaizo, and he kind of comes into the rescue and like shows you how to do something. I can't imagine the game that I stream the most.
I'm like, me.
I can't imagine having one of the best players in the world of a game at my disposal to help with things all the time. But I actually do not know the story of how you met. Did you know him before you streamed? Were you already dating? Like, I have no idea the story of Laser Belch and the theSpaceVixen. I would love to hear it if you would share.
It makes me sound a little weird because like I was definitely just a viewer of his before anything ever happened. I always thought he was just a really good streamer. Like he's always had, and I tell him this all the time, that even when he's like, I feel like I'm just not performing the way I want to today, I'm like, you're putting on a fantastic show. Like he is the master of compartmentalizing. And I'm always just like astounded. I don't know. I need to learn that from him. I can't do it. I don't know. He's great. Anyways. So I've always just really liked him as a streamer and just thought he's just like and he seems like a good person and he's like cute. And but like, it was just one of those things where it was like, but you live in a small town in Wisconsin and I live in LA and I'm also older and I just feel like none of this would ever be a thing. Also, no idea what someone's like in real life based on their stream.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Like that's the other thing is like you can see someone and be like, oh, your stream self is great, but I'm it's like if you only ever talked in memes the way you do on stream, we would be friends because you would drive me absolutely crazy. I couldn't handle that. So I don't know. We just kind of like, once I started streaming, he's actually a founder in my channel. He came in pretty quickly because I was like very active in his stream at the time. And he was really supportive and really, really nice. And at one point I kind of noticed that he like would reach out with dumb things like
find an excuse to reach out.
He for sure. I think this one's really funny. I actually forgot about this one. He actually reached out to wish me luck on my cream percent run. I was like, you don't need to wish me luck for that. If you guys don't know what a cream percent run is, it's a meme speed run where for every hour of your speed run you have to go on one impassioned rant, watch a YouTube video with your chat, and eat either 1 can of whipped cream or 6 ice cream sandwiches, which is why you do not want the run to go more than an hour, because so I've done 2 cream percent runs. One was Super Mario World and one was Odyssey, and I nailed them both in under 20 minutes. So like I had time, but it was still like, it was so funny that he reached out with like tips for the cream percent run. So what ended up happening was, it would have been like summer of, what was it? 2021, I guess. Noble Tofu was doing a subathon. He did his first subathon, and Laser reached out to me and was like, do you want to hang out and play Mario Golf with us when he's done? Like, we don't know when that is, but you want to hang out? And I was like, sure. Yeah, that'd be awesome. And I just thought, this is just being friendly, like, both people that I had talked to, and just thought he was just reaching out to kind of be nice. And then we got to that day finally where the 3 of us got on a Discord call and we're playing Mario Golf. And after a couple hours, Tofu was like, oh, my wife just made dinner. I got to go. If you guys want to hang out, if you guys want to keep playing, like, I'll, let you make a new room. And I was like, I'm good too, if you want to. He's like, yeah. Then we ended up playing another game, and then we talked for like 3 hours. And then I was like, I wonder if he likes me. And he gave me his phone number and he's like, text me sometime. And I texted him that night. I was so excited. And I was like, I wonder if he likes me, because I'm so bad at this. And then I streamed on Sunday and I was like having trouble getting BTTV emote set up. And he's like, I can jump on a call and like walk you through it. So we do BTTV. It takes 5 minutes. Then we talked for 9 hours. And I was like, I wonder if he likes me.
My goodness.
I wonder. And then
finally we were like, let's plan to talk for 9 hours, and we set a date for the next Friday. And I think it was a couple weeks we hung out a couple times, and then Tofu was because he got married during COVID, they were having like a second wedding reception on their first anniversary, and Laser was best man, so he was going to come out to California for the wedding, and I was also invited to the wedding. So he asked, like, I just wanted to know if when I'm in California for the wedding, if I could take you on a date. And I was like, I would love that. And then it quickly morphed, like he was supposed to stay with Tofu, and then we were going to have like, go out a couple times, to him staying with me for 6 days. So we just kind of like jumped on in. And it was like, if it doesn't work out, you have someplace else to stay and it's fine. But it just worked. It just kind of worked. And we were long distance. We hit it for like 2 years, which was super rough.
Wow.
We didn't want people to know, in part because I am super. It's actually really funny. I've never talked about this. I mean, I talk about it on stream. I never talk about this on like my Instagram, on YouTube, any platforms like that. When I say we, I'm referring to me and Pete. Like I keep my private life so off the internet for that stuff.
Right.
But like Twitch is the one place where I can't do that. But I have always kept my private life very private from the internet, because I get really creepy people. I didn't want anybody, thinking that like anything that I was doing was because we were dating. Because sure. I think it often happens that it's like, oh, you're only doing this because you're dating, because of this. Like you, as the woman, I think you often get downgraded to like, oh, because you're the girlfriend. And we didn't want to do that. And we only told people because we were going to Kaizo Coliseum and there was no way we were going to be in the same place. We were staying in a hotel together because we were still long distance at the time. It was going to come out and we couldn't ask 35 people to like keep a secret for us.
Right.
So we did a reveal. I was actually in gosh, where was I? I think I was at the Herbert Hoover Presidential Library for a week for research, and it was not too far from where Laser lived. So I drove after I went to the library. I went back to his house, and we did like the reveal at the end of his stream one day.
How did people react? That's amazing. I remember hearing buzzes of this. It was
very funny. It was funny because he streamed normally that day. I think I got in on Thursday afternoon. It was really funny because I had to text him. I returned my car and I couldn't get a ride out to his house because he was in such a small town. They wouldn't drive me from the rental car place. So he had to end stream early to come get me because I was just like stranded. And then the next day he streamed normally and he's like, I've got an announcement at the end of stream. And, you know, he went full stream. He's like, some people might have seen this coming. Some people might have had suspicions, but I just like put the chair down and sat down. I was like, hi. and people were largely excited and kind to us. And
now that you're painting the picture of that, I'm a serial lurker and I remember this. I actually do remember the stream. I'm a serial lurker. I actually do, now that you're painting, like it's jogging my memory. Yeah. I do remember like the reveal that's kind of wild.
Yeah, it was fun. Like we joked about like how funny would it be if we moved in together and we green screened him into his old place and just like one day just drops the curtain and it's like a new house and I'm just sitting there like, hi. we talked about all these like silly ways to do it and then we're like, we can't move. We were starting to talk about moving in and stuff and that meant that he was moving across the country and we're like, we can't hide this. This is getting to the point. But for 2 years, there's a very funny one. The first time I went out to visit him, for some reason I flew back on Monday. So we had to end stream early to take him to the airport. And he didn't want to say there was like a family emergency. He didn't want to say there was something wrong. So he said, I ate cheese with California Reaper peppers in it and I have bathroom problems and that's why he ended stream early that day. So people were just like, oh no, are you really sick? And I'm just sitting, I mean like packing in his closet listening to what's going on. I'm just like, this is so silly. This is beyond. So it kept being that like I was taking a week off to do a research trip or just to like take a break, but I was going out to visit him and then he was taking a week off, but I could still we still streamed when we were visiting each other so that no one would like see that we were both gone at the same time. But then we were just like, okay, enough. And it was also weird because we had to like edit each other out of our lives a little bit. That felt weird, but it's nice not to do that anymore.
For sure. I can imagine. Yeah.
I really do remember that stream. Like it was, I used to lurk in Laser Belch all the time and I hadn't quite found you yet, but of course I knew who you were and everybody was buzzing about it. Like everybody go to Laser stream right now. Oh my God. But it's just, I mean, I'm sure everybody was just like, so happy for you too.
It was nice to see like the community and like, you know, Laser has such a strong community that people were just like excited that we were happy. It was just nice to share something and have it. I don't know. That stuff always makes me nervous. I don't know. It's just like having a private life that's at all public feels weird and I don't love it. So it was just nice that people were cool and have been pretty cool about it. I only get the odd person that's weird about it.
Like the person who came in your stream the other day. What's he like in real life?
Yeah. It's whenever that's the one thing that like super gets me is people that come in first time chat. What's Laser Belch like when he's not streaming? And I'm like, I'm not like I do sometimes. And like we also knew I didn't want people to be like, you know, come to my stream and just talk about him because I'm now like the closest thing you get when he's offline. And
sure.
Like sometimes there's like I get a little bit of that from some people, but by and large people are okay. But it was definitely like a weird feeling for a while because it was like, okay, I'm not just here to talk about him. I know you guys love him, but like we're in my stream now and I still have to kind of remind people like if you're looking for a different Twitch channel, even if his torso is right here.
Do you ever see in like those gossip magazines where it's like celebrities are normal people too? Look, here's JLo grocery shopping. This is a prime example of streamers are people too. Like that YouTube, like we're having chats, like 9-hour calls and then went on dates and stuff. Like, it's actually sweet. It's such a sweet story.
I think because like, I mean, again, you guys are streamers. You know that parasocial relationships exist on Twitch. And it's like, that's what felt really weird about it, was like opening our shared personal life to that aspect of being streamers, and that felt weird.
Sure. Sure.
But yeah, for people to be cool was very, like, that felt really, really good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It's you said like the parasocial, yeah, it all exists, and it's one thing I like about the podcast that we've done is that, you know, we get streamers, so you only see them in the streamer format normally, right? When they're on here, it's like, hey, yeah, that they're literally the same person when they come on here. You know, we've had 21 people, and we haven't had a single person come on here. It's like, whoa, this person doesn't sound anything like their stream.
Yeah.
Like they all just talk the same. They all, you know, it's just them.
Yeah, which is neat. This community definitely has people that I know everybody's like the amplified version of themselves, but nobody's like faking it. Nobody's faking who they are.
Right.
Which is totally agree.
Yeah.
Oh, it's almost like just a little muted.
Yeah.
Off stream. It's like same person, just like not yelling at your face.
You got to put on more energy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, like, speaking of, Ashley, I'm always just like, where do you find the energy that you have on stream? Because I don't know where that comes from. But I see you, I'm just like, I am amazed. I am just amazed that you have like always like high energy positivity. And I always tell my chat, I'm just like, go see Ashley. Go marvel at her energy and how positive she is about everything, because like I'm in awe. I am just in awe.
Thank you. I start my new full-time job on the 27th. I haven't been working for the last 2 months. But normally full-time job, I stream full-time, but I'm not in a relationship. I don't have kids or anything. It's just me and my dogs. I live alone.
Yeah.
But you know, Twitch helped me in a really hard time in my life. And whatever fears I have in life, whatever sadness is going on, as soon as I hit go live, it completely melts away. It just does. I get energy from the people who come to the stream, and it just fuels my life in such a positive way that I just hope that people feel the same way leaving a stream that they did, you know.
I think the only difference, and I'm only saying this because I happen to look over at the live chat, and it is similar to me too, is that the only difference for me is that, like, you know, on stream you're forced to talk more, right? If you're not talking, it's like, okay, it's weird. Like in real life, you know, I talk, but I'm not like the person telling the stories in the group, you know, getting everybody laughing and stuff like that. That's not me. But like on stream, you kind of have to be that person, you know, even if it's just narrating. Okay, I'm doing this. You know, you're not necessarily saying anything of substance, but you're just talking. Right. So like obviously I talk way like that. That's maybe the only difference there. The podcast, I talk more than typically as well. But that's probably really it. Otherwise,
Yeah, I totally agree.
Twitch is like the one place that a bunch of introverts become extroverts.
Yes. Until the camera turns off, then we just go hide back in our caves.
Sink back into our nerd box.
The few people that I've met in real life, it's really funny that how many people are just like get super introverted when the cameras are off, and it's like I totally get it. The same way. I absolutely get it, and it's just like we're all the
same. Let's transition a little bit. The podcast here, we always like to have a little segment where we talk about some games maybe we're playing or something, not necessarily on stream. And this is always kind of a fun thing to do. I know, Amy, you said that most of your stuff it's only on stream, right? You don't, or do you play stuff offline, or just not really?
The only thing I'm doing offline right now is I started we have 3 Switches in our house now, so I started a second Animal Crossing island because it's cozy.
Ooh.
So I do that when I just like need to break away. But no, I am sufficiently busy right now that I don't often feel like I have time to sit down and like devote to a video game. So I'm not currently playing anything offline. I played a bunch of Isaac offline to like learn it. Also because Laser has an encyclopedic knowledge of that game. So he can just sit there and be like, you don't want to touch that. And I'm like, okay, I trust you.
Now I'm curious, 3 Switches. Do you have 3 because of Animal Crossing?
No.
Okay.
I have my one. Laser has 2, and he got 1 because he had a second one that lived downstairs. So he, in his old place, so he could do Ring Fit, literally just to have a second one. And I thought that's actually a really good idea. So that's now the one that's like the living room switch. So I can, bring games in and just start a new file if I want to. And that's where the second Animal Crossing island is.
Okay. The only reason I said that it is because
I know so many people that did that. Yeah.
Yeah, because for whatever reason, Nintendo won't let you just create a second profile on your Animal Crossing or what. So it's like even if you like log into your Nintendo Switch as another user, you can't do it. You have to be a guest on the main island. Anyway, I know people, like you said, people have done that. Like they've bought 2 Switches because their wife wanted their own or whatever. They wanted their own island, and you can't do that unless you have different physical games. I guess
physical consoles.
I don't know if you could buy. You have to have physical different consoles, even if physical different games. I think they'll use the same memory and everything.
Use the same cartridge, because I use the same cartridge in both my islands. But you need a physical different.
It's wild
console, which is like, I don't know. Did they do that to bump up numbers because they knew the game was aggressively cute and addictive? Maybe.
Probably. I think they've always been like that with Animal Crossing, though, even all the way from GameCube, to my knowledge. I think they have, but at least GameCube, you could probably have different memory cards, so you could easily just swap that. And you didn't have to get anything. Ashley, what about you? What are you doing? You doing anything offline these days?
I just glanced over at the chat really quick, and somebody wrote, "How many Switches does Ashley have?" And I also have 3, but it's because
for one person.
Because I have my original. Actually, I have 4. Oh my gosh, I have 4.
Why?
Okay,
you have so many Switches, you're forgetting that you even have them.
Wow.
Okay. Next time you're here, there's going to be an intervention.
Hear me out. First, once we're a prior relationship, and he had jailbroken it, which it's in a jailbroken, doesn't turn on state, where I'm sure I could have it reset in some way, but it's in a closet. I still have it. I have my Switch, my original Switch, and then freaking Nintendo, you put a Triforce on it, I'm gonna buy it.
Do it.
So I have the Tears of the Kingdom OLED, and I have it still in the box, haven't touched the Echoes of Wisdom Switch Lite.
At this point, you don't touch it. You keep it as a collector's thing, unopened. Yeah, you never open it at this point. Now, which Switch is your main driver? The OG?
I have my OG and my OLED that I switch because of memory, like because I have so many digital games. I keep usually my stream stuff like Jackbox and Mario Maker 2 if I ever am going to play that on one. And then personal stuff on the other, so like Skyward Sword and Sonic Mania, things I don't play on stream on the other one. But I collect consoles. Like I still own every console I've ever had since I was 3 years old. Never got rid of a console ever. How many consoles
do you have?
Probably less. I'm gonna say, if you don't count like my couple of Game Boys I kept and stuff, I have somewhere around 40.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I have like 6 or 7 versions of Sega Genesis. Like that's the one I collect the most. But yeah, I have a lot. I mean, I might have more. I'm just gonna ballpark that I have like 40.
That's nuts. I was expecting like 10. So you don't play all of them. They're a collection.
They're a collection, and I have all their all the consoles sit out like on display in my apartment. All the cords are all together nicely in bins in my closet. All the controllers are in bins in my closet. The amount of controllers I have would really I have probably between 80 and 100 controllers, because I have every controller
that checks
ever
out.
Yeah,
ever. Yep, ever.
Checks out.
So
that's nuts.
I have a lot.
As for me, the only thing, and I got to think of something soon with the vacation, because there's travel involved and stuff like that. I gotta figure out something to do to download on my Steam Deck and play. But actually, the only thing I've been doing it's not even like, I don't know. It's not like your video game that you're gonna play like on your console and stuff. Is I've been kind of just like when watching TV playing Geometry Dash. You guys familiar with Geometry Dash?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just on my phone. All it is you're just a little square that goes sideways, and there's like really good music that plays, and you're just tapping the screen to like jump over obstacles. It actually has a big scene. Like if you're ever scrolling like YouTube Shorts, TikToks, there's always streamers playing it. Like they always have huge audiences. But it's I've just been playing that like on my phone. It's insanely hard. Like it starts off a little easy and it gets like ridiculously hard, but eventually you're going upside down. You're trying to jump over things. It's got automatic pads that make you jump. Eventually you're just like, you're going the other direction suddenly out of nowhere. Like it's wild with it. And it has like a whole, like, think of like Mario Maker type community where they're just building custom levels 24/7.
Yep.
But it's an auto scroller. Like you can't tell your character to stop. And all you got to do is you just got to tap the screen to jump. That's all you're doing is just tapping the screen. And it's high paced, really fast. And it's like, it's one of those things like I'm watching like a movie or watching a show or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll see if I can beat this level. And I'm just sitting there just, tapping away for 30 minutes and I don't make any progress at all. So it has that kind of Kaizo relation where you're just like, I don't know how I could beat this, and eventually you get a breakthrough and it's like, oh, okay, I see it. I see it a little bit. And it's wild. But I've been actually playing that. I don't think I've ever even like mentioned that. Like over the past like couple months, I've been playing that like in my own time. And it's I've played it in the past a few times, on and off. It's like, oh, it's kind of a fun game, whatever. But this is definitely the most I've invested into it. But that's really it for offline. I do need to figure out something for our trip, though, with all the travel time that we have. There's always going to be some form of downtime when you're on the ship and stuff like that. I don't know what it's going to be. Something I'll figure it out.
I have the analog pocket. You have something similar. What's it called? The thing that you have?
I have an Anbernic. RG XX5 or 5XX. I don't know what it is. It looks like a Game Boy Color translucent purple, except it has 4 face buttons, and on the back it actually has 4 shoulder buttons: L1, L2, R1, R2. But it's not an FPGA like the analog or like a Super NT or a Mister. It's not the FPGA where it has that console level quality, latency, not being there, which is really good for Kaizo and stuff. But it's just an emulator machine basically that runs on some form of Linux, some flavor of it. And I definitely tried. I was like, let me just see what happens if I were to load like Grand Poo World. It's near impossible. There's so much latency on it. But for like casual, like just playing some Zelda or whatever, it plays all the way up to I don't know, like it plays from NES all the way up to before 3D. Basically, it'll play any of those type of consoles, and it's kind of fun. It's just a little like Game Boy Color size things, but it's by Anbernic. They have a whole bunch of different things that kind of do that. If you want something cheap, that's not like buying an analog pocket or something, and you don't care about the accuracy and stuff. It's cheap. I think it was only like $60 or something, and it comes with all that stuff. Nice. It's pretty cool. But that's it for me offline. We can move into our next section. We do have, if you guys didn't know, Arcade Parlor here. We do accept voicemails. And we accept emails. We do have a voicemail that was sent in. If you do want to leave us a voicemail, the phone number is 402-915-1082. You can call as soon as you call. It'll be my voice saying, "Thanks for calling Arcade Parlor. Leave a message after the beep or whatever," and it sends you directly to voicemail. You can record yourself. We also accept text messages if you'd rather just text it in. You don't have to call in. It takes both. But we do have one voicemail that I do want to play here. Let me pull it up here. Here we go.
Hey, okay, Paul. My question is for all 3 of you. I have, with the Nintendo announcing the Switch 2, what type of games are you guys excited to potentially Nintendo bring to the new console? Also, I have a question, just a side question. If you can go anywhere in the world for vacation, where would it be? I'll look forward to you guys' response. Have a good day, everyone.
Okay.
I love you guys have that set up.
Yeah. So,
Thanks.
So Nintendo Switch 2, that's big news. That just was announced a couple days ago now as of recording. Less than a week ago. In fact, just 2 days ago now that I think about it. Yeah, a lot of hype between Switch 2 or for Switch 2. A lot of people have been looking. There's tons of leaks. Like literally everything was leaked about it. Like nothing's really new that they announced or that they showed in it, but a lot of hype behind it. I guess what are you guys looking forward to? I mean, there's always like, okay, we want the next Zelda, we want the next Mario, the Mario Karts, the Smash Brothers, and all that. Like, is that what we want? Just more? I think for me personally, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the game, I would like to see giant performance upgrades in some like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. Like, I think it'd be cool to see good performance, like, even because they say it is going to support all the old games. All the old games are going to be supported, except for a handful, which I suspect somebody pointed out would be stuff like maybe Ring Fit won't be supported because of the different types of I don't know how there's like peripheral type games that might not work. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. That was just they're like there was a Mario Kart real game where you actually had like racers that were on the ground. Do you guys remember this? There was like some weird thing that they came out with. Yeah, like maybe stuff like that is what they're referring to. But I think like Tears of the Kingdom, obviously that's going to work. Breath of the Wild's obviously going to work. I think it'd be cool, if anything, just to see performance upgrades. Because we're pushing Switch to its limits. Like we're definitely due for a new console when you're talking about these AAA games and stuff. But I don't know. What are you guys looking forward to?
I want a new Odyssey. I want another Mario Odyssey. I love that game so much.
Do you just want like a sequel, or do you just want like the next, just give me a new 3D Mario that's going to be like as good, or you just want Odyssey?
Odyssey feels so good to play. Like, again, it was actually my first 3D Mario game because I never played anything, and going back to Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine, they feel terrible. I just want something that plays as well and has that like that level of open worldness that's like, I hate some of the mechanics in the older games where it's like, you got to start. Okay, we're going to punt you out and you got to do everything again. Like, I like that you can just run around and explore. And I'm like, I want another one of those. I love Mario Kart, so I just want more Mario Kart. I've never played Double Dash, so I want them to do something like Double Dash, because I know that you can have like two characters and multiple items and like swapping and stuff. I'm like, that would be...
I always love that mechanic.
I hear it's great. So those are the two things. Like, I'm a normie. I don't know. Again, I don't really play a lot of video games, so I'm just looking for that.
Yeah, I'm for me personally, I stand by that. I think Odyssey's the best Switch game in my opinion. Just really tight, really well made game, and I would love to see Odyssey 2. And Odyssey 2 is obviously great. I would also like to see just the next. What are they going to do for Mario next? What are they going to improve more? Yeah, it doesn't have to be Odyssey, even though that one's incredible. Just keep doing what you're doing, right, and just make it feel good and give us something that's the next iteration, I guess. Yeah, that'd be awesome. What about you, Ashley?
For me, honestly, Zelda fans have eaten so good the last couple of years. I can't ask them for a full length brand new something from Zelda at all right now. I have a prediction more so than a hope that they'll release it with remasters of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, because we've been asking for it for Switch for so long. I think that they may go into remakes more so than something new for Zelda, which I'd be totally happy with. But I'm just excited. Like, as streamers, we are all going to be day one purchases of the Switch 2, because you kind of have to keep up with the times. And I just look forward to anything Nintendo's going to bring our way. I hope for more Nintendo Switch Online. Maybe we'll get some GameCube on there. But other than that, I'm not a big performance person. I don't really care how things look. I just like my Zelda and my Mario. But I look forward to the new games that will come out with it.
Yeah, more Nintendo Online is a good call.
Yeah, I want to see how they expand that. There was a part 2 to the question, which was if we could go anywhere in the world for vacation, where would you go? I will go first because I know exactly where I would want to go. I was an art history minor in college, and the number one place I want to go in the world is Florence. I want to go to my motherland. I want to go to Italy. I want to eat the food. I want to see the sights. I want to go to the Duomo. I want to see all the churches and all the history there. Italy is my number one. I want to go to Florence all day long.
I like that. Also, didn't know you were an art history minor. That's so cool.
Yeah.
My mom's an artist. I grew up around art all the time. Nice.
Trying to think.
I don't know. I have to think about this. Yeah.
Yeah, same here. Like there's a couple places I think would be cool. I don't know about a number one. Like
Mhm.
I think like I would love to see Rome, and the Colosseum and everything. Like that would be really fascinating to me. Maybe that might just be my answer. Is to get out there to Rome specifically. There's just the whole Roman history is very interesting to me, and the fall of Rome and everything is it's interesting to me. So I think that might be it. Honestly, just go there and actually see about it, in person, some of the structures that are still there and all the history that's involved.
Nice. Yeah, for me, I'm kind of torn between, I don't know. I've never been to Italy, and it's definitely on my list. But also Japan is on my list.
I knew you were going to say that. I swear.
I showed this stuff on stream. You guys remember like the weird Japanese game shows like Hole in the Wall?
Yes.
When we're like the guy, like all of those things, and Wall of Boxes. And I'm just like, how is Japan like such an incredible culture of there's so much like ceremony, and there's so much respect in this culture.
Yes.
And you have all of this amazing like these temples and all this incredible nature, and then you also have Wall of Boxes, and you also have like milk bars, and like Japan is weird, and I really want to go see it. It's
so diverse what it offers.
It is so Japan feels like it is such a fascinating like mixes of different subsets of cultures that like I would love to do like a good solid trip to Japan and like see all of that and really learn about the history, because I think it's fascinating and the culture is fascinating. Yeah.
We had a couple episodes ago we had Waffle Smacker on the podcast here, and he immigrated to Japan about 10 years ago or so. So he's been living there for about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And that was really interesting. It was fun trying to figure out how to do the time zone to get us to record together and stuff. But we figured it out. But it was really cool. We talked about a lot, what's it like, actually living there, especially like you grew up in the States and you immigrated like that's to a completely different culture from the US and everything. So that was a lot of fun to learn some stuff from like, somebody who lives there and stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
We also do have an email that came in. Ashley, I did send you that to you. But before you do that, let me just remind our listeners, if you want to send an email in to us and have it possibly read here on an episode, our email is just email@arcadeparlorcast.com, email@arcadeparlorcast.com. It comes in, we read them all. If you want to send a question to us, if you want to send a correction, if you want to send whatever you want to send, or just some cool knowledge, we'll read it, and it might just end up on an episode here coming up. Ashley, do you want to go ahead and read one that I sent to you?
I would love to. It says, "Hi, Poncho and Ashley. Number 1, to Vixen, what initially got you interested in space? And to all, if given the opportunity, would you ever go to space? Thanks for all that you do, Lacey J."
All right, how I got interested in space. So back in the day when I was 7 years old, we had to do a school science project, and I did a project on Venus. And I thought it was super cool because it's like the Earth, but inside out and backwards, because it's about the same size as the Earth, but it rotates the opposite direction, and its day is a year long, but you can see it in the night sky, and that's super cool. So I had this little kid's book. I still have it. It's 1001 Facts About Space. And there's a little cartoon about 2 astronauts on the moon in front of a little lunar module. And I'm from Canada. Like, NASA's not ever present in Canada. So I didn't know about the moon landing. And I was just like, oh my God, people went to the moon? what? And then I just like needed to know all about it. Like it just blew my mind and I just became like fascinated. And then Apollo 13 came out a few years later and I love Tom Hanks because Big is one of my favorite movies. And I was like, oh, there's people that went to the moon. And then I started like getting all the astronaut biographies. And I was like, I can understand this. I can learn about this through like stories. And then I just like, I was always just fascinated. Yeah, I was just like that nerdy kid that I could tell you who was on what Apollo mission because that was a fun thing to know when I was 14. I was super cool. Went on many dates. I went on no dates. I was just fascinated with the history. And then the more I learned about it, the more I'm like, it's insane that they did that because of politics. And it's insane that they, you know, the way it has all fallen apart and it's fascinating. So it's just the more I dig, the more there is to kind of explore and the more like offshoots and stuff. And it's gets into other big Cold War technologies and there's parallels and it's huge. It's massive. It's so fascinating.
It's amazing.
That's cool.
Would you guys go into space?
Yeah, would you go into space if given the opportunity? Like, I'm gonna just assume that all expenses paid. You're not dishing out money or anything. This is just an opportunity presented to you. Would you guys do it?
Depends on who's launching me. Depends on who's launching me and to where. Yeah, I don't know. I would like go to the space station. I would for sure do one of those like space tourism, like go up, be up for an orbit and come back down or something. Like, you know, Virgin Galactic does just the suborbital flight, but you get to see the curvature and you get 10 minutes of weightlessness or 15 minutes. I would not go to Mars. I don't think people think about the realities of going to Mars.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, anything like that just does not sound great to me when you think about like, you can't talk to people, you have flight time delays, you are pooping in a bag, you have like the realities of it. Like it is not glamorous. It is. Yeah. So depends on who's launching me and to where.
I don't know. I kind of like being on Earth. I don't mind it at all. I think I might leave it to the more adventurous.
I think for me, if it was like for some kind of a reason that would help mankind or to learn something, I would totally go. Yeah, I'd probably just go. I don't have any. I don't have kids, or I'm not in a relationship. Why not? If I had the opportunity to go to space,
that's fair.
That's a good point. I have two kids. You know? I have a wife. Man, I think I'll stay on Earth.
Depend on you. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I would totally go. No glamour needed. I'll do what I need to do to be out in space for a little bit. I think that'd be super cool.
All right. Well, we are coming down to the end of our episode here. One of the last things we always like to do here as we outro ourselves is we do like to go around the room really quick and just do a moment of self promo. Talk about where you can find us, any new things that are coming down the pipeline or anything that you want to tell people about. Now is always a good time to do that. Ashley, we usually start with you. Do you want to go ahead and tell people where can they find you? What do you have coming up, or where are you posting? Tell us all about it.
Sure. You can find me on twitch.tv/Ashley with 2 E's _FL. You can go to ashleyfl.com. All my stuff is there. Daily YouTube. So I stream 4 nights a week. I have coming up for Mr. Poncho Taco going on vacation on the 23rd of January. I'll be doing 11 nights in a row of streaming. I'm taking all his nights. I will be, me and Poncho have opposite schedules. So I will be doing my nights and his 11 nights in a row. I'm going to do a community awards ceremony on February 1st, which is going to be super cool, giving out awards to all my mods, VIPs, and all my super active chatters. It's going to be like superlatives. I'm going to give them the certificates they can print out if they want to. It's going to be super fun. I have a Valentine's advice call-in stream, my first ever call-in stream coming up on February 13th. And that's really it for me. But while I have the floor, I just want to say it was completely a dream come true to have you, Vixen, on the podcast. You already know you are a dear friend of mine and one of my favorite streamers, and I got a gift sub to your stream and I never left. And you treat the small streamers and the big streamers the same way. You are one of the kindest and just most giving people I've ever known on the platform, and I am honored that you were able to join us today. So thank you so very much.
Good people are good people, and you're absolutely wonderful people. And that's like the best endorsement I've ever had of my stream. I got a gift sub and I never left. It's like, that's the dream endorsement.
Yep.
Right there. Nice.
Vixen, where can our listeners find you? What do you have coming up?
I don't know. Right now I am doing daily short uploads on YouTube and mostly daily on Instagram, and everywhere I am. Okay, my YouTube channel is The Vintage Space. If you Google that, you will find me. Everywhere else, I am at Amy Shearer title, just my full name, except for Twitch, which I am theSpaceVixen. Streaming 3 days a week right now, Monday, Thursday night, and Sunday mornings. Just currently playing Dave the Diver for a bit because it's cozy and I'm stressed out. But yeah, and everything else that's coming up, I've got some long form YouTube videos in the works, but no ETA on that. No ETA on any of the big stuff. That's all longer term. So yeah.
As for me, mostly just twitch.tv/Pancho Taco. I just finished Bloodborne the other day. All bosses, 100% done. That was really cool. And then once I come back from vacation, I am doing something truly horrific. That this isn't a surprise to the channel or anything, but I am doing a full playthrough of Donkey Kong 64 with crowd control enabled.
Oh.
And there were some goals that were met in stream that I will be donning a DK suit the entire time. And there will be a giant 6-foot inflatable banana incorporated into the stream through a couple of goals that were met. So it's going to be horrific. I'm going to live there for far too long because of crowd control playing this, but that starts February 5th.
Is the banana by chance going to be inflated in a kiddie pool, and will you also write chat's names on it?
Everything, yes, except for the pool. I don't have room for a pool in here, but yes, there will be opportunity where people can have their names written on the banana. It'll be the stream banana.
E-girl era.
Yes, yeah, that is it. There were goals met for this to happen, and they were met very quickly. Wow. And we're gonna live here for a while. So
that's good.
But that begins February 5th. It's gonna be truly horrific, and I look forward to it. I actually do have a fondness for DK64. I know a lot of people don't like it. I kind of have a fondness because I remember playing as a kid and I kind of liked it, and that was before the internet told me it was bad. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think we'll see how it translates to my adulthood gaming, though. Maybe it really was bad and I just don't remember. So we'll see.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where you can find me. Listeners and friends, thank you for tuning in. This has been episode 29 here. And we were joined here by Vixen. Vixen, thank you so much for joining us here, being our 21st guest.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This is really fun. I'm really happy I got a chance to also when you see people on stream and know people in the community, but get a chance to actually talk to them. This has been really great. So thank you guys so much for having me on.
Thank you.
We absolutely enjoyed it. Thank you so much. As for our listeners, we will be back in about a month in February. Date TBD. Just keep watching. Tune into our channels. We'll tell you when it's going to happen. Watch Twitter, whatever. We'll get it out there for you. But there will be, of course, another episode here in February. Stay tuned. Until then, adios. Take care, everybody. We'll catch you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.